All right, guys, we got another passing concept. This video might be, hopefully it won't be too long, but the purpose of, because this concept isn't in any of the folders of Madden, let's go ahead and play it. So, you got double slants, Y stick, levels, smash, snag, Salem. These are all concepts that we've already went over in the game. And then this video will be about the Haas concept. And the reason why I have it in red is because it's not listed under any of the folders for the passing concepts. This is something that you have to hot route on the field. And essentially what it is here's your line, wide receiver, slot, tight end, wide receiver, back. The Haas concept is where the number 1 runs a hitch pattern and the number 2 runs up the seam. That's it. That's the Haas concept. And we're going to go over what you do to attack defenses with this, and what it's good against, right? Typically, what you want to do is you want to have it going on both sides, like this. Okay. Now, because it's not in the game, at least the passing concept folder, what I do is I look in the smash folder, because the smash has this guy running a hitch and this guy running a corner, and then you just hot route this guy into a go pattern. So, at least have, the go pattern and the hitch, and then the number 2 on the other side running a go pattern, and we'll show you why pretty soon. Okay. Now I want to show you a video on YouTube where I believe he was offensive coordinator for the Patriots for a little bit. And the Patriots ran this Haas concept to perfection, and they added to it a little bit. And something he said in this video is what set me off in regards to, I was just amazed. It was such a profound, a profound idea. I don't know if they came up with the idea that made me explore my playbook more. I run the New York Giants. And it opened up my mind on plays to run that I would never run, okay? Because I understood a concept that he spoke of in this video that was just amazing to me. And basically what they do is they put, take the back out, and they put a number 3 here. And against single high defenses, you're going to work the hitch seam. And against middle of the field open defenses, your number 3 you're going to look for the number 3 because he's going to get one-on-one instances against the Mike linebacker. So let's go ahead and show you the video, and then we'll go for it from there.
That we call Haas. Again, hitches on the outside, seams by number 2, wide juke. All right, so now on the inside, you take your number 3 receiver, and so you're watching tape, and you're getting ready to put in your empty routes, and you say, okay, what are our matchups like? Okay, well, they're always going to play an even coverage or a split safety coverage. So we should take our quickest player and put him at number 3. Why? Because he's going to get matched up on this Mike that has no prayer of covering him. Because in a split safety coverage, the Mike's working at number 3, right? It's pretty easy. Because in a split safety coverage, the Mike's working at number 3, right? It's pretty easy. Because in a split safety coverage, the Mike's working at number 3, right? It's pretty easy. So what we would do in New England was we would always try to get Welker, Hernandez, whoever our quickest player was, matched up on a Mike that couldn't stay with him. So again, that's, people say pro football's matchup. I mean, all football's matchup, right? You want to get the ball to your best players. Okay, so here's a split safety coverage. Okay, so what Tom's doing here is he's pointing here and he's making a read a call, and he's telling whoever this receiver is here that it takes 1 to be hot here and 2 to be hot over here. Watch, so 1 there, and watch, he points, see, and then he's pointing 2 right here to let these guys know. So there's a lot of communication involved here. All right, so here's Haas wide juke. So we got hitch, seam, hitch, and then here's the juke route. Now the juke route is a route where he can either sit if he's not matched at 5 yards, right over a ghost tackle, or he can return if he's being walled heavy inside, he can return out. Or if the guy just plays him head up, he can go up, get up on him, get up on his toes, juke.
So here's the play right here, and the play that he was speaking of, and it's Hoss Y Juke. And when it was something he said in the video that just set off like the biggest light bulb in my head. Like I'm already, I already look at the game in weird ways, and I like the way that I look at the game, how I attack defenses and stuff. But when he said what he said that made me think, it's just like it opened up my playbook even more to find plays that I would never run. And I saw where I can attack different defenses with those passing plays just based off the concept that he was talking about. And I'll show you that later. All right. But basically, think about it. There's only 6 different shell coverages in the game when it comes down to it. I know you guys heard me say it over and over again, and we'll go over it really quickly. Remember this sequence. This is the sequence I go by. 4-2-2-0-3-1. Got a line through here. This is the single high side. This is the double high side. I don't care what defense you call in the game of Madden. I don't care what defense you call. It's one of these 6 different shell coverages. It's a cover 4 shell, a cover 2 zone shell, cover 2 man shell, cover 0, cover 3, or cover 1. Now some may say, hey, well, this is the same thing, so why do you have 2 zone and 2 man? I do that because 2 zone and 2 man is played a little bit differently, okay? And I think it's better to look at it this way. Another guy said, well, cover 0 really isn't a double high safety defense. I know that. I know it's really not double high or single high. It's really a no high defense. But I just group it this way because it's just easier for me to see. And I think it will make it easier for a lot of players to see the game in a way in which they can attack defenses better. Okay, it just makes it easier to see it this way. 4-2-2-0-3-1, right? So 3 and 1 is cover 3 and cover 1, obviously. And this is single high. And this is cover 4 zone, 2 man, and cover 0. So the beauty of this play, the Haas concept in itself is just a hitch by the number 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Again, the 3 doesn't have to be here. He can be in the backfield, right? You can have a 2x2 set, and you can still be running the Haas concept. So this guy's going to run a hitch, and this guy's going to run up the seam. And this play, this concept is good against single high because against cover 3 zone, you just attack. You're really going to get a key off the second defender in. If he goes out to defend the hitch, then you throw to the seam, right? If he sits and rides upfield with the seam route in cover 3, well, then you can throw the hitch because the corner is going to be playing a lot more conservative, being that he's a cover 3 zone player, right? Okay, now against cover 1 man, that's where it kind of opens up a bit. You can still, if the corner's playing off, well, then you can throw the hitch, right? So my only issue, I remember when I tried to practice this on the field in the game, and I'm like, well, yeah, this is pretty good against cover 3, but I don't like it against cover 1 because, a lot of times the corner can get into a press look, and you really don't like the hitch, and I really don't like the seam route in man-to-man with the press look, right? Unless you have a really good matchup. And that's when I found this screenshot of this play that the Patriots ran, and I saw this. Like, play design is all about coming up with answers. I had a question, well, what do you do when the corners are pressed up? I thought, well, okay, now you can't run it against cover 1, so I really didn't like it that much. Then I see this, and I'm like, oh, okay. What they do is they convert it into a fade against press looks, right? So no matter what, you have an answer against single high with this passing concept, the Haas concept. You run a hitch if they're soft. If they're playing press on you, then you convert it into a fade. So when we get that press look, maybe on both sides with the corners with the single high, we look for our best matchup and we look to throw our guy open, right? He's got to beat his man off the line, and that's where we want to go. So, the Haas concept should be excellent against single high. Now, what the Patriots, what he was talking about in there is they added a wrinkle. So the 3-1 is good to go with the Haas concept. But what they did was, well, this was the aha moment for me. When he said, yeah, we have our number 3 and we put our shiftiest player at the number 3. Our really good receiver here. Because whenever the middle of the field is open, I want you guys to know 4-2-2-0 is when the middle of the field is open. This is middle of the field closed. MOFC, single high. Middle of the field open is 4-2-2-0. Whenever the middle of the field is open, the Mike linebacker will be matched up with this guy. And that's when it just hit me like, wow, that's crazy. Whenever you can find something that's, you want to find your nevers and you want to find your always, right? Whenever, hey, I notice when we play against this guy and we play, I don't know, single back ace, they will always be in the underfront, right? Then you can find ways to attack that underfront every single time from that formation because they always play that against that. Hey, whenever we get in the bunch formation, they never blitz, right? So that helps you out in game planning and coming up with plays to where you know you don't have to really have, I don't want to use that type of phrase, but for lack of better words, you really never have to have something to deal with cover zero because they never blitz when you're in that particular formation. You want to find your always and your nevers because that's when you can build your concepts. Well, when the middle of the field is open, I don't want to say always, but I would say 95% of the time, the mic is going to be matched up with your number 3. And that's what blew my mind. Something so simple, but it was just right under my nose. And, it didn't reveal itself to me until I ran into that video where he said that. And it's crazy, right? Think about it. So cover 4 zone. What's going to happen? Well, the free safety will be matched up with him because he's running up the seam. Corner may help out on that because the number 1 here may not run a route deep enough for that to be declared as a route that the corner has to take. That's neither here nor there. Both of them are dealing with the number 1 and number 2, right? So what's the Mike responsible for? Well, he's the 3 receiver hook, not 3 receiver hook, but he's a 3 receiver player in quarters coverage. And this is your number 3. So typically on most routes, he's just going to be one-on-one with this guy. So why not have your shiftiest player at the number 3, especially when they're playing quarters? So that's 4, right? So what about 2 zone? Well, in 2 zone, the corner is going to be cloud flat, soft squat, whatever, hard flat. Free safety's playing deep half. Then you have your vertical hook player. And, your middle linebacker is your 3 receiver hook player, or he's your Tampa 2 running up the field, but he's going to turn his hips to the passing strength of the formation, which will be to where your number 3 is. So if he climbs up field, you can just sit right in the void and be wide open. If he wants to sit down and play you head up, then again, that's why they have this choice route here. He can either run it off or he can return if he's walled off by that player, by the defense. So that's 4, 2 zone, and then 2 man. Think about 2 man. You're man-to-man. You're man-to-man. Oh, look. This guy's matched up man-to-man with this guy. I don't know why this blew me away when he said that. Right? So it makes the reads for this play that they design easy for the quarterback. Right? So 4-2-2-0. 3-1. Okay, we're going to call house wide juke. That's what they called it. Right? So Brady will come out. And if it's single high, he knows it's 3 or 1. So he's going to work the hitch or seam because that's what's good against single high here, right? In an instance where maybe this guy, jams this guy at the line of scrimmage and you don't like the hitch, well, then you can still work both of these seams because they're attacking the vulnerability. The biggest single high is vulnerable in the seams with cover 3. So when both of these guys are running up the seams, you put a 2-on-1 deal with the deep middle safety, right? So again, against cover 1 man, we have, we can work the hitch and seam. If they press, these guys will convert into fade patterns, right? If they're soft, we can throw the hitch, etc. Okay, so that's the reads for the quarterback. If you see single high, you're working hitch seam. If you see double high, remember 4-2-2-0. Well, then now you're looking for your number 3. Because he's pretty much going to be matched up with the mic every single time. And that's why they would put Amendola here or, Welker or whoever they put here. Their shiftiest player against typically a linebacker or whoever it is. I thought it was just so brilliant. And what it did was it opened up my mind on a lot of different plays in my playbook, plays that I would never run. But then I ran across the plays looking at it. I'm like, hey, I could run that same concept. And when I see double high, I know my number 3 is one-on-one with the mic. And I'll show you that later. So I want to show you a play with Brady and the Patriots against the Steelers where they worked the hitch seam against single high. All right, so let me show you a video on YouTube of the Patriots running the Haas concept with the number 3 running, pretty much an option route. And, we'll see how against single high, of course, Tom is looking to attack, the hitch seam, okay? And look how creative, again, football play design, man, it's just, you can do so many things, right? So as you can see, look, does this look like they can run that from, this particular set? All right, this looks like a traditional, little I formation they got going on, right? Well, what they're going to do is, obviously it's tight end, who knows, it's some type of back, maybe fullback is the back. They're going to shift. You're going to see them shift into a empty set. What's the purpose of that? Well, first of all, when we come out in this personnel, your opponent may try to match that personnel, right? Think about it. When you come out with 5 wide receivers, your opponent is going to want to come out in stuff like dime or quarters because you want to match up defensive backs against wide receivers. You don't want to come out and play 4-3 against a 5 wide receiver set, right? On the flip side of that coin, you don't want to play dime package against a heavy, I formation set because now you're going to get tight ends, blocking smaller defensive backs in the run game, right? So, it's always where the opposing team really wants to match your personnel. So the benefit of this is we come out in a base set, tight end, 2 backs and 2 wide receivers. So you come out in, your maybe 3-4 normal set, your base set 4-3. And then we shift into an empty set. So now you get linebackers in space trying to defend backs and sometimes even receivers when you're in zone, right? Because when you're in zone, the corner is not going to sit inside with a particular receiver. They're going to be on the outside, right? And then you have linebackers on the inside. Let's go ahead and watch it. So then he shifts, and he knows. Let me go back a little bit. I want you to watch the motion too. First they motion, and you see how it's single high? Play it. And look how they replace that. So this looks like some type of cover 3 zone. So then they shift. So now he knows it's single high, and they shift into this set. And he knows you're in single high. So now what he has is they're running the Haas concept. So he's going to work hitch seam. And what they read typically is the second defender in here. If he goes out and defends the hitch, we can throw in the seam. If he sits back in the alley of the seam and rides that, we can throw the hitch. And the reason why we can throw the hitch confidently is because this corner, it's single high. He has no help over the top. So typically, he's going to be a little bit more safe. It's not like he's playing cloud coverage and jumping this route underneath, right? And that's what the hitch seam is all about in the Haas concept. Also, their play design and coming out in a base set and I formation, and the defense, typically I think they're playing cover 3 or maybe even cover 1 man. This is like a defensive end right here. That shift just, put this guy out in space for whatever reason, and you see he's going to rip it right into the seam there. Like, look at that. You see, this is why you want guys like this in space. Defensive ends, linebackers who are not very good in coverage. Linebackers, period, right? Look how he just opens up the gates for this seam route to attack the very weakness of a single high defense there. Yeah, this looks like cover 3 zone, and he just rips it right in there. Okay, so that's, just showing you another play of the Haas concept. I got this from some page on YouTube. Just look up Patriots Haas Juke if you want to see more action from this guy, this YouTube channel. I don't have the name. I'll probably put it at the end of the video because I don't see it here. And I looked into the playbooks of the New England Patriots, and I was in shock when I saw it. I was like, wow, they actually put it in. They put this play in their game. Bravo! Like you almost got to give them a hand clap. You actually did something somewhat correct. It's in the Patriots playbook and the Miami Dolphins. I think those are the only two places that it's in. I don't applaud them for not having the Haas concept in the game, right? It's not really in the game. You can create the Haas concept from different things. I'll show you that later. Okay, but at least, hey, look, they actually put the actual play in the game. They even have the hitch, and he should convert into a fade against press, right? I was in shock. So I went and ran it, and let's go ahead and take a look at it. So it's a single high, and I decided to see, here's the thing with the game. The game is so garbage. I shouldn't have to go to the practice field to see how this works. We know how it works. We know against single high, we are attacking this player, and if he rides up the field, I should throw the hitch. Like I should know that. Like I shouldn't have to see how the game is coded, right? But that's what we have to do. So I snap, throw it quick. And I'm like, wow, lo and behold, it gets over there. You know what I mean? It's kind of close. It's a close window. Let me turn it down a little bit. I threw it to the other side, and that window I really didn't like. Okay. But it's somewhat doable. And then here I wanted to see if you instead decided to wait to attack the seams, and there you go. That's something you really kind of got to practice in this game, because that's something I don't think that they have coded right is, the seams being vulnerable while playing like cover three, right? Like you could play cover three sky. I could pick four verts, which should be the deadliest passing concept against cover three sky. And it's like the hardest thing in the world to fit balls in the seams because the game isn't coded right at all. Okay, they're just incompetent. So now I wanted to check cover one, right? So remember, 4-2-2-0, we're on the 3-1 side, and the Haas concept should be very good against the single high side, whether you're in cover three or cover one. So I decided to go to cover one, and I wanted to have a press look, right? Because remember, the outside receivers are going to run a hitch, but they should convert into fade patterns against press. I can't believe they got it right? Look at that. Look at that. When I saw that, man, we'll watch it again. This is how this game is. So, it's so pathetic, guys. This game is just actual. It's just pathetic, right? So you know what this tells me? This tells me that, hey guys, and this was a play that they added during the season on like Madden 20, I think, or Madden 19. I don't know which one it is. But what this tells me is you put the play art in the game to where, this guy should convert into a fade against a certain look, but you didn't actually code that into the game. You just put the play art in there because they're not running fades against press looks. They're just turning it into hitch. These guys are like, dude, I really don't have nothing nice to say about these developers, right? So, the play Hoss Y Juke isn't really coded right. But I went to cover four. So yeah, now we're looking at the number 3. And it's like he turns on a sit route. Why? Like, what? Why didn't you take that inside? The number 3 was. It is like, why? Like, you see how it's just so bad, guys. It's just so bad. You saw in that last play, like the guy was outside of him when he came inside, so he should have took it inside. That's the whole point of the option, right? Option, as in make the best decision possible. Like, this guy should never be right while he's covering you. If you go up to this point and you're attacking his toes and he takes off the inside, you take it outside, right? But you saw in the last play, if you go replay it, our players like here, the defender is literally here inside, and our player decides to whip it back outside, and that's why it really wasn't that open because he makes the wrong decision. This game sucks. He did it again. He did it again, right? So, what's the point of me showing you this? Well, the point is, I was amazed that they actually had this play in the game, Hoss Y Juke. But I'm just showing you, you really kind of don't want to run this play because the guy just, when you run against middle of the field open, and you know where to go with the ball, where you should look. He's really running routes that favors the defense when we should be destroying them inside. Okay, who knows? Maybe it's because I had my tight end Knox there. Maybe you can make a substitution, get your best receiver there. Maybe he'll make a better decision. But that's neither here nor there. Now, the whole point of the video, I went through all that, but the point of the video is now since we know about the Hoss concept, I went to the concepts folder, and of course, Hoss is not even in the folders. See how we have spot, choice, drive, mesh, smash, all that? Well, you're not going to find Hoss. So if you want to start throwing the Hoss concept, I suggest you go to smash because you need that outside receiver to run a hitch pattern. Okay? So like here, you see how the outside receiver is running a hitch, and then we can just hot route our inside guy into a go pattern or maybe even a fade pattern, right? So then we have our Hoss concept. Okay, and you can practice that on the practice field. Yeah, the windows are tight, but if you start, I like this. Look at this. It's a nice concept. Or right here, where you motion the back outside and you're running the Hoss concept right there. They have it under the smash folder. I don't know why. I don't know if you would call this like smash. Like, how is this? Oh, maybe I'm. Whatever, guys. Like, you would like smash is to. I already went over smash, but shouldn't this guy be running like a corner route, attacking behind the corner? That's just me. Like right here, Whatever. But like here, you would hot route this guy to a go pattern before you had this guy run out. And then you're having your Hoss concept going on over here. But typically, the Patriots would have it to where they would have a Hoss concept on both sides of the field, and then their number 3 be running like a choice, option route, whatever. And they would know whenever the middle of the field is open, they can just look to attack the number 3. Now, here's why I loved learning that. Let me move forward here. Is I went to the playbook that I use, the New York Giants, and I saw plays in my playbook that I usually would never run, and saw how actually good the play actually is by understanding the concept. So for one, I wonder if this is the playbook. It looks kind of funky. But just looking at this play right here, whenever you come out in this play, they're in single high, you can look to attack here. I would hot route him to a go pattern, hot route this guy to a go pattern, right? You can look to attack the seams against single high or the hitch patterns against single high based upon what you see. And when the corners press, then you can just hot route this guy into a fade pattern because the game doesn't have the option route incorporated in it, right? Okay, no, this is still the Patriots playbook. So I'm just giving you an example. So I ended up going to my playbook, the Giants. The concept went to smash. And this is the whole point of this Hoss concept video. So yeah, you got the smash here. Because he goes a fade behind the corner, right? But you can hot route him to a go pattern, and then it's the Hoss concept. Right here. This is a play I would never even think about running in a game. Because it just, something about it I never liked. But when I saw this and I thought about the concept that Mr. O'Brien was talking about, think about it. Against single high, cover 3 and cover 1, We can look to attack with these guys over here, right? We can convert. Actually, we don't have to convert anything. But the main focus is against single high, we can figure out where we want to go with this. But whenever it's double high, that's what I'm trying to get at. I will know that typically the Mike linebacker will be matched up against my back. He's the number 3. He doesn't have to be on the line to be the number 3. He's the number 3, right? So whenever I see double high against this formation, rest assured I know, hey, I can get a one-on-one with my back against the linebacker. So I'm like, okay, let me check out this play. I never run it. First of all, I wanted to show you the Haas concept. We went to smash. I think there was a play where this guy runs like this and he runs the fade. I just wanted to show you that you can still run the Haas concept when you hot route this guy to a go pattern and you keep this guy on that hitch. I just hurry up and throw it. You just have to get used to that timing and try it out yourself. If it's too close for comfort, just keep practicing it so you can get the timing down, and you will piss off your opponents because it'll be like, man, I was so close. This is where I took the other controller and I made it to where they don't press at the line of scrimmage. I put it in the sticks adjustment, and you can see no matter what. Let me go back a little bit. I put it in sticks, so instead he doesn't press on this time. Now he just goes out into his curl flat, and you can throw that hitch if you want. See, we're reading that player. When he goes out like that, we throw the hitch. We also read that player, and the second he presses at the line of scrimmage, we know we can throw the hitch because he shouldn't be able to make it while he's in that animation. Throw it. So again, with the Haas concept, you're reading the second defender in. So now I did it to where the defense will play underneath. So now he will play the flat. He's deep third, hook to curl. So because we're reading this guy on the Haas concept, when he goes out, we should be looking for our seams, right? So I hot route this guy to a go pattern and this guy to a go pattern, and I keep this guy on that hitch, right? That's what we do. We do the Haas concept on this side and at least have the number 2 on this side running up the seam. Snap, and when you see him fly out like that, that's when you know you can't throw that. Now you're looking to throw the seams. So you get your eyes on the safety. And he chose one side and we throw to the other side. That's something you have to practice because throwing the seams against cover 3 in this game is actually hard when it shouldn't be hard. Okay? So you have to get the timing right and everything else. So I went with cover 1 man and I pressed. And we should just know whenever we see single high and press look, we have to convert the hitch into a deep go pattern. And then you just take your best matchup. And of course we have, good receivers here on the Bills. Or you can check out, if you don't like your matchups on the outside with press looks, that sort of thing. So there, I just chose to throw over there. So now on to my point. This play I would never pick ever, but knowing that whenever I get middle of the field open, cover 4, 2 zone, 2 man, or cover 0, I know I get a lot of one-on-one looks with the back against linebackers. Imagine if you had Kamara, right? A shifty running back at the number 3. You can just exploit your opponent just knowing that concept we learned from Juke. From Bill O'Brien explaining why they put their shiftiest player at the number 3. I thought that was just profound to me. I don't know why, but it's just me understanding that opened up my mind on plays like this. So this is cover 4. This guy's going to go to the flat. He's running like a burst corner. So because he's in quarters, he's going to read the number 2 here. Because the number 2 runs something underneath, he can now look to double team the number 1. And this corner will be on that as well, right? This guy's a match 2 player in cover 2, so he should match the out route. He should take that route. Well, what does that do for the 3 receiver player here? He has to match the back. I want you to watch what happens because, the play is designed for the back to go up the field. He torches him up the field. Did you see that? We couldn't get the ball off because this game, on the practice field, typically it's another thing Madden has wrong. You should have 7-on-7s on the practice field or whatever it is to where you don't have a defensive line or an offensive line. You're just practicing the plays. Okay, but that's something else that they don't have right. These guys are terrible. Okay, but let's run it again. You see how open he was? I was just amazed at this. I'm like, wow, just that whole concept of knowing whenever the middle of the field is open, I can look to get my back the ball here. Wide open against cover 4. Okay, if they were in cover 4 spot drop, it's different because they're not going to match anything, right? So I think I went to cover 2 zone. Yeah, this is cover 2 zone. And again, he's a 3 receiver hook player. He should open up his hips to the side, but because he's got to get depth, this guy's just going to be wide open. Put it inside. That's like, what, 10 yards? Two zone again. And that time, because of the play we got, we have the flat route and then the burst corner on this side, and it attacks the corner against cover 2. So now it's like I found a play that I would never run before, and now I love it. Just because I understand that concept now, right? And here we are against 2-man. Again, that's the pre-snap look, inside leverage. So now, because I don't like this right route going up the field, how about we motion this guy out of the backfield in here, and then we can convert him into like a slant, maybe an out pattern, whatever it is, because he's one-on-one with that linebacker, right? All because we learned why the Patriots decided to put their best player at the number 3. We learned that whenever the middle of the field is open, we typically can get a lot of one-on-ones with the Mike linebacker on the number 3. And that's the whole purpose of this video, really. I mean, yeah, it's to show you the Haas concept. Yeah, it's something you can incorporate into your offense if you want to. The windows might be a little bit too close for you, okay? But it's at least something you can, at least now, right? But to me, the most important thing I learned was that, we found an always, right? Close to an always. Whenever we, have 1-2 and they're in, middle of the field open, you almost always get the Mike linebacker matched up with the 3. And you can exploit that with matchup issues, right? Maybe we come out in trips, right? Trips with a wide receiver here and a tight end over here, and we motion the back out here, and then they go quarters, and maybe I put Stephon Diggs here, right? So now I know he's one-on-one with your Mike linebacker or whoever it is, right? If the middle of the field is open, that sort of thing. Possibilities are just endless. So I'll leave it at that. I know I rambled a bit, but I just thought it was fascinating for me to learn that from Bill O'Brien. Getting matchup issues with the number 3 inside against middle of the field open defenses. So, hope you come back.